You're watching the 2024 SCAC Tennis Media Days. Today, we're taking a look at the Southwestern University Pirates men's and women's tennis programs. Again, the Pirates will be led as they head into the season. One of the guys that head coach Nyssa Peele, along with leadership from juniors Jared Burton on the men's side and Erika Synoski on the women's side. Jared, Erika, Coach, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Russell. Nice to be here.
Coach, we'll open up with you. It was announced back in August, the hiring of you taking over these two programs there at Southwestern. I'm just interested in what these last 6-8 months have looked like as you make that transition, taking over as the head coach of these two programs. And, ultimately just how excited are you to finally kind of be here at the start of this spring semester and get ready for this sort of spring run into the championship part of the season?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Super pumped to lead this group of young women and men, a very talented group of individuals, not only on the court, but off the court as well, with their ability to do an amazing job in the classroom and then apply that also on the tennis court. So I'm really looking forward to just working with these players, taking them where they are in their tennis games and then trying to extract the most out of them. And at the same time, making sure that we're having a great time, becoming strategic thinkers. And so I'm just really excited. I'm continuing to get to know everyone's personalities, and everyone brings an amazing aspect to this team. And it's just a really great group of people.
Jared, from a student athlete's perspective, just interested in your thoughts on the transition with Coach Peele coming into this program. What has she brought, and how excited are you to kind of all be together now and at the start of this season and getting things underway here for your junior year?
Yeah, I mean, change is definitely new, but I think she's like as she mentioned, she's really brought to the focus like the strategic thinking on the court, and that's kind of like changed our entire like aspect of how we approach tennis, both as like a player, but also as like a student athlete, taking everything to the next level, kind of trying to be 1% better every day. And I think as a junior, trying to take more of a leadership role, like now, like this season's kind of like we're taking it more not just as seriously, but we see like the championship aspirations, and this is like we're all very like locked in and trying to get better 100% every day with the same goal in mind.
Erika, coming into your junior season, I'm interested in just your mindset. Obviously, I would imagine kind of those first 2 years, maybe just trying to be the best tennis player you could be, right? But now, sort of understanding the expectations of the program, kind of the culture of what's been built there at Southwestern. How have you seen your role change kind of within this group coming into your junior season, and how excited are you to be back and get the season underway?
Yeah, I'm super excited for this season. I would say my first 2 years I felt a lot of pressure on myself with my game to prove myself in the program, but now I'm trying to put a little less pressure on myself and have a little bit more fun, and also just set the best example that I can for the underclassmen now that I'm a junior. Yeah.
Coach, you talk about kind of that getting to know process and feeling your way through here at the start of this new season as the first year head coach. I'm interested kind of what are some of these early messages as you start to put your fingerprints on these programs and sort of lay this foundation for the programs that you're hoping to build on top of the success, obviously that's already been there before you. What are some of those messages, and what is kind of that foundation you hope to build these programs off of?
Yeah, really pushing for the concept of what are you going to do with your academics and what do you want to be once you leave school here? So kind of pushing that message, as well as from a tennis standpoint, is we are trying to stick with, there's 6 main things, but for the most part, the 3 most important ones that we're focusing on right now are thinking about patterns, consistency with our patterns, and as well as body language. And then what pulls into body language is how can we be as poised as possible? How can we find ways to be resilient? And then how can we be a gritty tennis player? So those are kind of the 6 aspects that I'm trying to bring and show the players that they possess all these characteristics. How can we just make them 1% better every day?
Jared, throughout your career, you've already had a multitude of successes, not only from a team perspective, but individually as well. An all SCAC, all tournament, both singles and doubles performer in your career. Where's your game at right now as you get prepared for this junior season? What are some things that you've been working on throughout the course of the fall, coming into this semester that kind of build your confidence as you get ready to really let this season unfold?
Yeah, I think after last year and kind of as the season progressed, I saw some success in my game, but I also saw some like notable areas to improve on. And going into the summer, I noticed that physically I could be better and spend some time both in the gym and trying to put in the hours off the court as well. So that was one area I looked to improve on. And then also like whenever for me a big thing was trying to just be like a leader on the court, especially as I grew, like Coach just mentioned earlier, poise and trying to be that leader on and off the court. That was something I could get better off of, not just while playing tennis, but in every aspect of life. So those are some things I felt that I could improve on and I'm really working on. And then after the fall season, we saw some new growth as a team. And then now going into spring, we really see that like we have the talent on the team. And this is a team that can go really far and we're capable of doing it. And we just need to get those little fixes every single week and every single match and build as the season progresses.
Erika, similar to Jared, you've had successes in your own right out on the court through your first couple of years, most recently coming off an all-tournament team in doubles last year as a sophomore. If you were to describe your game, how would you kind of describe yourself as a tennis player? And when you're most comfortable out there on the court, what is kind of working well within your game that kind of gives you that confidence throughout the course of the match?
Yeah, so as coach mentioned, we've been working on like being gritty tennis players, and I would say I have a lot of grit. I like to grind and get into like long points, and when I'm like making a lot of shots, I feel like that's when my game is doing the best. And I've had a lot of success in doubles my first 2 years here, and now I'm kind of seeing my role shift to singles as well. So I've really been working on my consistency and my confidence to do well in both singles and doubles. And I'm really looking forward to showing that this season.
Coach, coming into this season, your first year as a head coach at the college level, had a lot of success throughout your career as an assistant. But I'm interested for you, stepping into this role for the first time as a head coach. Are there some mentors, some people that you've been able to lean on through the course of this transition and maybe help you through some of those hurdles or questions where there are those challenges as a first year head coach, and how have you been able to kind of lean on those folks throughout this process?
For sure. So one group in particular is there's the ITAW that hosts weekly or monthly meetings, and that has been a really great network of people to collaborate with. So I'm really enjoying working with those women. When it comes to a specific person, Dave Schwartz, the guy that I worked, the head coach over at Claremont McKenna Harvey Mudd Scripps, he instilled a lot of why I coach the way I coach. And so when I feel things are not necessarily going my way, I feel very comfortable reaching out to him and getting advice. And he gives me some really great advice. And then I try and bring it to the team and bring it back to what we're trying to do. So those are my mentors right now.
Finally, wrapping things up with our student athletes, Jared and then Erika, as you've had conversations with some of your teammates and their leaders within your groups about some of the goals and expectations going into this season, what have those conversations looked like? And ultimately, what do you feel is going to be key in order to try and accomplishing those things heading into the year?
Yeah, I think as a team, kind of as we moved away from the fall and moved into the spring season, we saw, as I mentioned before, we saw the talent is here. And we recognize that we have a lot of big matches coming up soon, and each of those big matches is an opportunity towards the end goal, which is to win conference and go towards a championship. And that's, as I mentioned, with every single player on the team, I think we all have a unified goal. Everyone has the same mindset, and we recognize that each match, same importance. It's all we all have the same goal in mind. And as we progress through the season, we're chasing that one goal right there.
Yeah, to build on that, the women's team has focused a lot on having like a winning mindset as well and really being unified out on the court, pushing one another. I would say we have a lot of talent as well, and it's just about putting in what we work on in practice into our matches. And another big thing that we have talked about that's going to help us succeed is having a lot of discipline during practice and in our recovery process. All of that discipline across the board is a big part of what's going to help us this season.
And finally, Coach, as we wrap up with you, success obviously in our arena can be measured and quantified in so many different ways. So when you speak about success with your two programs, how do you try and talk about success? How would you, try to quantify those things, and ultimately these 2024 seasons kind of look successful to you if what plays out over the course of the next few months?
Yeah, and these guys can probably back me up here, but I've really been focusing on mini wins. Did you hit your first serve in and you hadn't done it before? That's a win. That's a mini win right there. Did you miss a swinger 3 times, but then you tried it again? That's a mini win right there. So really trying to get these guys to really understand that there's wins everywhere, and you need to find those and you need to celebrate those. And that ultimately is what will define and help this team become where they are into a championship level type team. So yeah, so we focus on mini wins all the time.
Southwestern University men's and women's tennis programs. Again, the Pirates will be led as they head into the season under the guidance of head coach Nyssa Peele, along with leadership from juniors Jared Burton on the men's side and Erika Synoski on the women's side. Coach Jared, Erika, thanks so much for joining us today, and best of luck as you head forward throughout the rest of the season.
Thanks so much, Russell. Really appreciate your time.